Tell me when we're live. Is that good? And then go ahead and you can remove the logo if it hasn't been removed already off of the other computer. Okay. Sounds good. So why don't we pray and we'll begin. Our Father, thank you so much that we have a place to gather here. We want to pray continually for our country. We want to pray continually against the forces of darkness that really are trying to force the human race, the people that you created and loved, into a living, into a lifestyle that they weren't designed for. We were not designed for slavery. We were designed for freedom. So God, we just beseech you, we pray, we cry out to you, Lord Jesus, you're the one I acknowledge because you rose from the grave. And so, Jesus, we call upon you to rise up on our behalf. And we thank you for this place where we can come and gather. We pray for all the people all over the world who are struggling through this right now, who are being forced to live in a way that we know is against our nature. So, Jesus, we cry out to you. Thank you. Bless this time here with us by your presence. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. Let's see. Let's begin our meeting. Stand up with us, please. Salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Be seated. We're going to hit the ground running, and we have so much to cover tonight. I'm going to speak quickly, okay? And I'm not sure. We'll try and get to that, but we've got a lot of ground to cover. This is who we are. If you've seen our vision statement, we're about action and intelligent action and all this stuff. So just letting you know, if you want to join us, one of the easiest ways is to do our Telegram account by finding out how to get a part of that. It's kind of a cryptic way. We tell you, just come talk to me if you want to get onto Telegram. Also, we have this email. It seems to be a way people are trying to communicate with us. All right? With that, I'm going to go ahead and move on because in 30 minutes, in 28 minutes, we are going to be having a time on Zoom with someone, okay? So that means the next person up is going to be talking about, I'm talking about Ottawa. Unfortunately, I don't know if anybody's ever seen anything about Ottawa. I hope you're praying for Ottawa. You know, and what are some of the most inspiring things you guys have seen coming out of the Ottawa occurrence, the event going on there? Anything inspiring?
They said we're not going anywhere.
We're not going anywhere, and they're being funded, and that's being battled right now. They're going in with lawyers to make sure that the Liberals just can't say, hey, I'm just going to take their money away and make it disappear. Yep. Right. Gas. Yep, they're starting to seize gas cans, so people are walking around with empty gas cans all over the place, just as a statement. They're all walking around with gas cans. Isn't that great? You know what they're going to do next? See, you know what they're going to do next? They're going to start delivering full cans of gas with drones that we'll operate and fly them in and drop them down. Yeah, what's up? Gasoline is identifying water. You can't take water. But keep praying for Ottawa. There was a video I was extremely inspired by, and it was a video of the Canadian police coming in to try to negotiate with the lawyers and all the truckers that were in a bar. And it was very tense, and I'm amazed the police department kept it cool, but they also got to the point where the truckers were like, listen to me, we're hoping you'll come to our side here and stand up with us. Now, that's an issue I think we need to be doing here in this area, talking to our sheriff and talking to our police department. When push comes to shove and people's freedoms are going away, where are you going to stand? Are you going to stand with following the orders? That's not gone well over the history of mankind. So anyway, so that's really what's going on. We're inspired by what's going on there. Oregon statewide mass walkout. Abby, you've got some info about that. Okay, why don't you come up and share? You can grab your own mic. We can do this duel. Look at that.
So there is a. That's really loud. Is that really loud? Okay.
That's good for people online.
Okay. There is a statewide, I guess, movement plan for tomorrow for schools, for parents to send their students to school without their masks tomorrow. There's been some students in various states and places who have been standing up and making a statement, whether it's saying, no, thank you, we're not wearing a mask today, and being sent home. So I'm not really sure exactly who started it, but there is a pretty big push for a statewide plan for them starting tomorrow to go to school without their masks. So some of us Glide parents got together and talked last night with some of our students. And so what we are planning is meeting at when you drive on the highway going past Glide, there's a parking lot in their library, and right behind it is a greenhouse. There's a big grassy area there. I don't know if anybody knows where Gliding River's Drive-In. It's called Sandy's Place now, but it's always been Gliding River. There's a big mural. Just this side of that mural, there's a big grassy area, and there's also sidewalks all along there, which is a public right-of-way. And so our plan is one of the moms is going to pick up a bunch of donuts. We're making signs, and our plan is to show up and be there for the students.
7:30?
7:30. They have to, high schoolers walk in, I think, at 7:45, and middle school starts, I think, at 8. So I don't.
What a great way to start your morning tomorrow. Huh?
I don't know how strong and courageous these kids are feeling, because they're worried about districts are next week for wrestling, districts for FFA or Wednesday. Well, if we get suspended, we probably won't get to wrestle, and what if we get behind in school and this, that, and the other. So I'm not sure how many kids are actually going to show up, but I feel like as parents and as community members, there's a group of us who are still planning on going, and we're going to be there. Because if there's kids that are on the fence about it, or even if it causes a kid to, in 2 or 3 days, to walk in without their mask, we're going to be there, because we're the adults, we're the parents, we're the community members, and we're going to set the standard. So anybody, I know in Glide we're doing it. I haven't heard yet for sure of any other schools, but in Glide, we're going to be there at 7:30 tomorrow, with or without signs. If you can make it out to Glide, wear a coat, because I'm sure it'll be cold. Anyways, and again, it's a big statewide push, but let's try to support the kids in Glide if we can.
Yep, that's awesome. Okay. Moving on, that's the agenda if you want to take a look at it. There's, Sheila's not here. Oh, there she is. I saw her like 12 times before we started. Here. Oh, yeah, why don't you take Abby's song? I'm used to holding this thing, so.
Okay, I met a woman online in a Telegram group and found out that we both have a mutual vision for a national blood bank. Well, I was wanting a blood bank in our own community. I would like to start that locally, but her vision is more on a national and eventually international scale. So I'm going to read the business plan for PMA that we've been working on, and it's not anything set in stone. It's something that we would like to submit to someone. But I would like to ask for suggestions, input, whatever you guys have. This is for everyone, and we need all the help we can get. Yeah, suggestions after the meeting, please. Okay, so I'm freezing, but I'm going to read this. Okay. The aim of this proposal is to give unvaccinated access to a nationwide team of physicians, surgeons, nurses, and support staff by first establishing an organ donor recipient and blood donor network serving those unvaccinated against COVID-19. This will ensure that synthetic spike in mRNA and DNA-free tissues and blood are available to members who have not taken any vaccine for COVID-19, while also serving those who are not fully vaccinated. A combination of crowdfunding and philanthropic donations will be used to establish the private membership association and procure a secure computer system and database for storing member information. And I have a really hard time with this because I don't like my name in databases. So, but I also believe that they're probably going to know who's vaccinated and not vaccinated eventually, anyhow. So the computer system will include health information pertinent to the services offered. Once the first step is achieved, a new crowdfunding goal will be established to cover advertising, the cost of medical equipment, and staffing needs. An initial network of practitioners across the U.S. will be established, including surgeons, physicians, nurses, and as I said, it's all of the staff needed. Surgical facilities already in operation, compounding pharmacies. We will launch an extensive media campaign advertising our membership program for tissue and blood registry. Individuals currently in the National Donor Registry operated by the Health Resources and Services admin will be encouraged to opt out of that and join our registry. FAQ will be developed outlining the benefits to make this transition. Members will receive membership cards and legal documentation like an advance directive. This should also include a 24-hour hotline for our organization. Membership fees will be based on the number of family members included. All members will need to have initial testing for the previous COVID-19 infection using the T-Detect test, and that's a $250 cost. Short, mid, and long-term goals, depending on obtaining sufficient funding. We'd like to acquire real estate to perform in-house testing of tissues and blood, perform surgery, support facilities of patients, and provide nutrition services. Compile a team of displaced healthcare workers, scientists, and technicians to operate a brick-and-mortar facility. We must be diligent about identifying purity of blood and tissues. Recipient injury mitigation is paramount. We envision that the medical discrimination continuing and affecting a very large number of people, quite possibly on an international scale. The plan outlined above should serve as a template to establish additional independent locations throughout the U.S. and internationally. We would both like to start something in our own communities. She's up north. I will be meeting with her this week, and we're going to refine this. She's asking the group that she's affiliated with to come up with ideas as well, and so we would like to take your guys' ideas, their ideas, put things together, and try to at least form something in Oregon first, and then move to nationally. And then next on the list, we talked about the FLCC mask protocol and be prepared. And so I wanted to show everybody sort of what I put together. I'm not organized at all, but I needed to have everything there for me in case we needed it. So I have a drawer home with all of the medications that we've ordered from I'll Take Chemist, and everything's organized in there, but I've taken this so I can remember everything that we have ordered and what it's for, and just kind of organize our little notebook like this, dosages. Yeah, so anyhow, I wanted people to be able to see this if they wanted to. This is just how we have our, not just COVID, but antibiotics and different things that we might need if we can't get it. I think it's really important that everybody tries to be prepared for their own families and take care of your own family, and then hopefully you'll be able to take care of other families as well.
Real quick question. Someone in our church got COVID just recently. They went in the ER. Somehow they told me yesterday they got prescribed Regeneron, and I thought that was something FDA is completely eradicated from the United States, but apparently they're giving it out still.
So I heard last week.
I heard ER is where she said
So
she went. So
Evergreen,
I'm assuming hospital.
Evergreen was doing Regeneron is the hospital, because as of last week, Evergreen was saying that they were not able to get it anymore.
Interesting. Okay, that's a big deal. So monoclonal antibodies has been the thing that's been really helping people in dire need. So if that's been taken away from us, it's a death. It's basically signing people's death warrant. So that's why we need to move on these things. All right. Thank you very much. Very much. State Bill 1606, who was talking about that? Was it you, Janae?
Oh. Yeah.
16 minutes and 10 seconds. Yes. You're not going to read that whole thing. No, just summarize it.
Okay.
Good. Keep that there.
Yeah. Okay. The SB 1606. That is the Senate bill that everybody should get a copy tonight if they don't. They're up in the back. Sylvia's got some. She's handing it now. I printed off 3 or 4 just for our own family members. So I'm just going to give you a little rundown. Right now, my mom is in Medford taking care of my uncle who just got out of the hospital with COVID. He was taken to Providence, and he was put in the ER. And the ER, apparently the hospital didn't have any room, so he was there for 3 days in the ER. The second day is the day I heard he was in the ER, and they weren't letting any family members in. He didn't even know where he was. And so I got on the horn, and, I love my family. But my extended family down there, they were all vaccinated, and they believed that the vaccine was going to, I guess, save them and keep them from getting sick. And all of them they still have it right now. They're still coughing and whatnot. So my mom went down there because my mom's kind of the matriarch of the family, and she's very tenderhearted, and maybe they'll listen to her. So the good thing was I told my cousin, I said, hey, print this out, the SB 1606. I went to the website of Providence. I could not find an advance directive. That's what you guys all should do, is just get one off of the OHA site, because that one you can actually, it gives you a lot of room to be putting in, like, some of the stuff on the FLCC protocol. You can put it on there. But shockingly, the hospital let my aunt in there without her having to show it. Now, I did look on their website. They have the SB 1606. It's in their bylaws, or whatever you want to call it. But I'm sure they were going to try to, say cognitively, he's okay that you could go in. But if you didn't even know where he is, how could he be cognitively, fine and not need support? So, but anyway, they let her in without having to show anything. And shockingly, they didn't give him remdesivir either. They said that he was already past the point to be able to get it. So we were all praising the Lord for that, at least, that he didn't get remdesivir. Wow. So, but he was in there for, I don't know, 6 days. My aunt only thought he was going to be in there overnight, and didn't realize all this stuff that's going on. And they were just in the dark. And you're not trying to pump them with so much stuff that they're going to go over the edge, because they're about to go over the edge about, all the information, because they just believe that the hospital always has the best interest of our family members, and they're learning the hard way right now that they don't. Yeah, they send him home with oxygen and everything, and he seems to be doing better, but my mom's down there trying to red pill him. So, in her nice, loving way, I sent her a big old bag of stuff to share with them. The FLCC protocol, we're all not, like, nuts out here. Those are doctors who have been observing all the different kind of medications that they're giving people and how good they're responding to it. So I sent that all with her down there, and I stayed until 1:30 this morning highlighting everything that has to do with all the stuff that's going on with my uncle. So, but anyway, I would just say that Senate Bill 1606, I have a copy here. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But basically, it says that you have the right to be a support person in the hospital. And it does go on to say cognitive, let's see, there's a few stipulations here. I guess I go to the cognitive all the time, because think about it. If you went to the ER and you're really, really sick, I mean, really, are you cognitively okay to make any kind of, you can't. Did you get informed consent? That's what I asked my mom to ask them there too. I said, did you guys get informed consent? When I worked for that doctor that I don't have a job with anymore, informed consent is even with the toenail, like getting partial toenail. He would read off all the complications that can happen from the toenail being removed, or if you had a side effect from the numbing solution. And he goes through every single thing, and then he has the patient sign it, and I'm the witness. So we need to be asking and keeping them all accountable when we're in the hospital's ERs of anything, even if it's not COVID. We always keep a diary whenever our loved one is in the hospital, and we diary like what medication they got, what time did they come in, what is that for? I mean, ask questions, be a pest, and maybe they'll turn out to be your best friend. And but we just got to keep them in line. So,
Second.
Thanks.
10 minutes and 50 seconds left. All right. Very good. Thank you very much, Nate. All right, Chamber Unity, election integrity. This is just a big conglomerate of things Abby's going to just spiel on, right? You got 10 minutes to do it, okay? Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to kind of touch back on a couple of things that were mentioned on the Ottawa thing. I don't know. There's way more stuff coming on Telegram than there is on, I think, any other social media site about it. They're definitely not talking about it in mainstream media. But it's funny that since all of these people, these truckers, these other citizens, the farmers, the cowboys, all the people have been showing up, now all of a sudden the OHA decided to say today, oh, well, we're going to lift the mask mandate in Oregon, the indoor mask mandate, at March 31st. Because COVID probably won't be a problem April 1st. They know that already somehow. And in fact, a friend of mine sent a notice from California. Theirs is lifting in February 18th, I think. Sheila? Right. So it's basically like it's just I think between hearing about the statewide school walkout, potentially the stuff going on in Ottawa, and there's a lot of other talk now about what might be happening in the United States, might have them a little bit on the, okay, maybe we should bring it back. But that doesn't mean, like Sheila mentioned in the chat earlier, that doesn't mean that we should back off of anything, because there's a huge fight ahead of us with everything still. And the vax passport is going to probably be rolled out next. And so we have to keep after everything. In Ottawa, there's a lot of people who have been willing to just, I saw a video of a guy said, I got nothing left. We can't hardly afford to feed our kids. I can't keep my rig going. He said, I'm here until it's changed. So that's the point that they're at. They're at the point where they're willing to give it up. Like, I talk to people, and again, like the kids at school, well, we have wrestling, there's a senior dad. Oh, my kid's a senior, next week is districts, is there a better time to do this? Or, man, I have a good friend in California, and he's like, man, it'd be really cool to convoy to DC, but it's calving season, and it's a really hard time to go right now. So at some point in time, everybody's going to get to a point where, okay, now it's time. We got nothing left to lose. And so, again, I go back to it. Every time we come here, what's that line going to be for everybody? But there are people who are talking about doing a couple different convoy ideas. And one idea is supposedly going to convoy to DC. And then another idea that people are planning on is convoying to the individual state capitals and gridlocking the capitals, specifically those that still have all these mandates. So there is some planning in the works for that. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Timber Unity movement that happened a few years ago. And Timber Unity has been oddly quiet for the last year and a half, 2 years, and it sounds like they've had some inner issues that they've now worked out, and they've kind of, I don't want to say split up, but they're going forward, but they're going forward under kind of another name, and it's ORNI space AF. Oh, it's Henri. It's Henri. I don't know. Did I not say it right? ORNI. ON. All right. Oh yeah. I'm sorry. Anyways, and they're ready to get into the middle of all this stuff, and so because I don't know, like Sheila just mentioned, she has a friend that she is met through a Telegram channel. It's OSU Notes the Jab. We all have come across different resources from various different groups. On Facebook, I have like 20 different patriot conservative type groups, whether it's parents' rights and education, Southern Oregon massless women, Second Amendment rights, election integrity. I mean, across the board, you name it, medical freedom, all sorts of stuff, right? And we've been saying all this time, how effective would we be if we could get everybody across the state, working together with each other? And so I started reaching out to various admins of these different groups. I reached out to a couple of the new guys that have gotten onto the board at Timber Unity, or whatever it is called now. Anyways, and they all sounded very eager, and we had a Zoom call about a week ago to basically unite the groups in Oregon. And so we had about 20 people come on board, I think. Somewhere between 18 to 20 at different points, yeah. Free Oregon was, I believe, on there. So yeah, I've contacted admins for a ton of the groups. And so we started basically a Telegram channel that's somewhere for all of these admins to go to kind of change. And it's not like we're going to now be Douglas County Citizens Coalition and the Southern Oregon maskless people and Free Oregon. We're still Douglas County Coalition. They're still their own groups, but we can work in concert with each other to what we call the Telegram channel with Save It, which could be Save Oregon, Save our schools, our kids, our Constitution, all of that stuff. So right now at that channel, a lot of people are starting to kind of talk about this convoy or this Occupy Oregon plan that they're working on, which would be March. So if there's anybody interested in that, I'm sure that there's a way that we can get everybody kind of dialed into those Telegram channels. They're getting very organized. They've got like volunteer sign up stuff or supply drop off locations, routes, just different stuff like that. They're all in the planning process, and they have recently got the Timber Unity guys on board to plan with them. So if you guys can remember the movement that Timber Unity had a few years ago, if we can get, I think there's a lot of people hungry for it. So if we can get something like that going, then we should. And I haven't heard this week. I think there's too much. I think there's too much they got to get lined out because they want to do it right. And I think I don't know if you guys have heard. I've heard various comments that it's been 8 months in the planning for the Ottawa convoy. So they went into it pretty well planned, and I've seen some of the posts about the things that they had to go through to be in the convoy. There's a huge checklist. You had to be vetted to be able to apply for the reimbursements. They had a driving captain for the different routes. Just a lot of stuff. So, and they're prepared. Like Jeff said, they took their gas, and they're like, "That's fine." Of course, they showed everyone. The cops just came and took our gas, and they're arresting people, who are helping us. But that's okay, because we're here. We're dug in. We've got our tent set up. We're feeding people. We're having a good time, and we're not going anywhere. So, we've got to get our heads wrapped around this mentality of getting ready to dig in. And that means stuff too, like what Sheila had shown you guys with the FLCC protocol and these directives. I mean, you need to be thinking about these things now because there's already people in our community who've been turned away from the hospital who've been treated because they weren't vaccinated. And so, especially when OHA comes down with its vax passport that they're going to come down with, there's going to be more and more issues that we're all going to come up against. So we need to be kind of thinking about these things now and about where the line is kind of in the sand that you want to go, what's the line that's going to be that's going to push you to go, are you going to go to start going to board of commissioners meetings? Are you going to start going to school board meetings? Are you going to start planning a trip to Salem to gridlock it for a day or 3 days or a week or 2 weeks? What are you willing to do? What are you willing to give up to the point that you're willing to do something, and then what are you willing to do? Because I know for myself, I'm not, let's go get them. In the past, I've been like a mom and just run around doing that kind of stuff. But now I'm just tired of it. I'm over it. None of the crap makes sense. It's dumb. It's worse than dumb. It's a plan. It's control. It's all the stuff. And we're over it. And we've got to get our asses in gear and stand up and say, done with it. Done. Like in Ottawa, done. Across the country. And not, I don't want to hurt so-and-so's feelings about this, and I just think that if we keep our heads down and keep going, we're just going to move through it, and it's going to be fine. It's not going to be fine until we say we're done and put a stop to it. Anyways.
1 minute.
Okay. So, in the Save It group, another person that I met is Gina. I can't even tell you right now what her last name is, but she's been very involved with election integrity across not only the state of Oregon, but she's been networking with people across the United States. If anybody follows,
Does she have the link? Because I don't see her on the Zoom channel yet.
let me check and make sure I sent it to her earlier, I think, in between lambs 5 and 6. So a few of us, while I'm looking, quite a few of us, I think quite a few people in the last year have determined that there's something fishy about the 2020 elections. And so more and more people are really ready to look into it. And one of the most common things that seems to be happening is canvassing. A lot of people are canvassing in a lot of states and in Oregon. And we have a lot of tools that have been that we have access to, again, through Telegram, really, these groups that we're in. They have the apps that people are using, the questions that they're asking, the walk-around lists, affidavits, different forms of affidavits. But not having ever been a canvasser before, I really don't know exactly where to start or kind of what steps. And so I thought it would be handy for a lot of us if we could.
Yeah.
It says that we have another meeting in progress.
Yeah, I do have one in progress. address. So let me just see if I can get her to start another one. And I don't know. I can send her a new invite if you just give her an email address.
Okay. She said it's thinking.
Give her
Anyways, so basically, there's been a few people here in our group who have said, yeah, I'm interested in helping out with the canvassing effort. I think there's a lot of different, Terry, we talked about today, there's a few different, first of all, there's a few different groups, like there's Don Birch, is that right? There's the Don Birch group, there's the GOP kind of group, there is the coalition people, and maybe even other groups that we don't even know about who are interested in getting to the bottom of some of this stuff. And it seemed to make the most sense to
Tell her to try now. Oh, I've got someone admitting into a room here. Okay, just a second while I do this.
Okay. It made the most sense that we could all try to work together on it, and instead of just each individually. So if we can all work together on this, anybody who's interested, I've spoken with Terry, and I think even Larry is willing to help kind of head this up together. And I know that some of the other local guys, gals, are also interested in helping with it. And again, we just kind of need to get the tools and the direction for how to move forward with it, because I think we would find even here in Little Douglas County that some things are suspicious. So is she going to pop up on the screen? Or?
Well, that's her right here. Hold on. But the problem is it looks like her video is not live, or she's blocking it, or it looks like she's holding a paper up on her camera, and I don't hear her yet. So
I'm here.
oh, hi Gina, we can hear you.
Hello, everybody. Hello. I couldn't know what was going on. Let me know when you're ready for me.
So we're ready for you, but we just don't see you. Just to let you know, we're working on that. But if you have some sort of setting on your video that allows us to see you, we don't see you.
Okay. It says I can stop the video.
Huh. Well,
Don't stop it.
we like to hear. Oh, there you go.
Gina,
We
hi!
see you.
I've never seen Gina in person. Hi!
Okay,
Where's the camera? This is so exciting. Okay, I was just talking about how you know everything about canvassing, and if you could get us kind of started in the direction of how to move forward and what canvassing is like.
Okay, great. I don't know everything about canvassing, but I will do my best for you guys. I'm so happy to see so many of you there. Thank you for having me. My name is Gina Talarino. I'm talking to you from Clackamas County. I'm a bonus delegate. I'm on the state and my county election integrity committee, and I work with a lot of teams across the country on a lot of election integrity issues, including canvassing. So I'm just going to share with you guys what I know. Is everything okay? Everything's can you guys hear me okay?
We hear you fine.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So who thinks pounding the pavement sounds like a good time?
Pounding the
Knocking on
pavement?
the door. Right? It does. Knocking on the doors of strangers and asking them questions. Probably not too many people. But we do like and enjoy our liberties and freedoms. And sometimes we are called to do things that are a little bit out of our comfort zone in order to preserve those things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm sure that maybe you understand that. If you're out at a meeting, you are already active, and that is a beautiful thing. And we also love living, I'm sure, in the most amazing place in the whole wide world. And we would like to preserve the freedoms that we do have, build upon them, and pass them down to our younger generations. So part of what we can do in order to do that together is canvas to show what many of us believe, to show proof of what we believe
Trump won. We believe that he won in 2020.
Yep.
And yeah, right. And we also know that he won 18 of the 19 bellwether counties, which are historically leading indicators of the final election results. So it's practically impossible, if we're looking at the numbers that he didn't win. I think a lot of us understand that. And we also know that there's a problem nationwide, not just in Oregon. As time has passed, more and more evidence supporting the assertion that Trump won has surfaced. And many other state leaders have decided to adopt the practices that Oregon has put upon us, the vote handling practices that have been put here, tested here on us Oregonians many years, unfortunately. And I'd like you guys to realize that I bet many of you do that since mail-in voting has began, we have seen a consistent move to the left, and especially with Democrat votes being counted, and consequently leadership, laws, policy, all of which in turn affect every one of our daily lives. You guys see what happens in the schools, which also are affected by the election systems of school boards and things. And you understand that the whole picture affects our collective future. So I believe that we deserve transparency in our elections. We deserve to know what happened with our sacred vote. And we need to know that it counted just precisely as we cast it. There are many questions that have come up since the spotlight has been put on mail-in voting, which is a complete win for us, and a loss for other places. But we can all win together when we can tackle something like this and try to make a difference together. You guys have probably been unhappy and untrusting with this process for a long time, and now a lot of other states and places are as well, because it's a ridiculous, it's like blind faith, just trust and believe. And I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure why we settle for that, but we don't have to. So that's up to us if we want to change things. Should I slow down?
No, you're doing great. You're doing a fantastic job.
Okay. With that, I want to welcome all of you guys to the front lines of battle for liberty and freedom. You are the standard bearers, not just on this front, but I'm sure on many fronts. And you are the trailblazers. So I'm so proud of you. And I want to personally thank you as a fellow Oregonian for being engaged and aware that local action is how we work to keep our democratic republic. So my goal today with you guys will be to give you the tools that you need to canvass your own area, to help you gather the evidence that you need to prove at least part of what happened in the last election. There are things that can't be proven through canvassing. We know we have proof through statistical means, and we also have other physical proofs that other types of cheating have been done that we may never have access to. But I believe any vote that was changed is one too many, because any vote that is changed is a dilution to all of our votes. And we know that so many have been changed. So anything we can do to make a difference really matters. I understand your group has already begun building a lasting infrastructure between your peers and your neighbors, and that's so awesome. And you guys work together for your collective good. Is that right? Your area there?
We've been building PCPs in this area for sure, and then I would say we have some networking already. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Okay, what a beautiful thing that is. And with all that ugliness going on, one of the silver linings, I think, is that we are able to find each other and connect and help each other and encourage one another. And I hope that that part of this whole picture doesn't disappear when all the rest of the bad things disappear. So I just want to encourage you guys to continue cultivating those relationships and keep making those connections. This is how we stay strong as as a group of people. Okay. So if I get going and I go too fast or something, please stop me. I will. Say again.
I will let you know.
Thank you. And I will have, I think Abby gave me some minutes at the end for questions as well. And my presentation, I think, is only about 15 minutes, so we should have enough time. Okay, I'm going to define canvassing. Who canvasses? Well, that comes down to the people in this case. There's all kinds of different canvassing, and although this can be viewed as a political canvas, it really isn't. I would rather, it's the best practice to canvas as a nonpartisan group. You'll have more participation in answers, and you will also have more participation in the volunteer realm. And really, it has nothing to do with anybody's party. It really has to do with something that we all take great value in, and that is our vote. Okay, what is the canvas? In this case, we would define canvas as an investigative solicitation of information by, I'm sorry, let me see what I put here. I'm getting off script a little bit. Information by the direct questioning of fellow registered voters. Okay, where should we do it? In our own towns or in our neighboring areas. Electronic canvassing can also be done if you have people that feel like they can't walk. That's perfectly fine. There are many other jobs that can be done, which I'll get into later if you guys want to know. But basically, electronic canvassing, you could look at a mapping app. You could type in addresses and see if those locations are even a place of residence, or what kind it is, so you can help direct the team, kind of like an intelligence officer, kind of cool. When should canvassing be done? I would say ASAP. Voting records are only kept for 22 months. Legally, they can be destroyed after that. All of them. The physical records, the electronic records, everything can be destroyed at that point. And so if we don't gather what we need before then, we won't have anything to compare the work to. So that's an important thing for you guys to understand. Also, something really important that a lot of people, I think, probably get, but I want to just point out that when you obtain voter rolls from your county on any given day, it's just a snapshot in time. In Oregon, we have I didn't do any of it. Some people have graphed our 5 most populous counties and what the registration pattern looks like throughout 1 year. And all 5 of the counties have a very similar shape. They have the same peaks and the same valleys, and you can almost overlay them on top of each other. And it's impossible that would be true if we had natural voting registration records. And it's not only happening here; it's happening across the entire country. Oregon's top 5 populous counties don't look like Utah's or Colorado's, but most of the counties in our state have an almost identical pattern, and it's shocking. It's shocking when you see that, because it's obvious that it can't be possible, naturally. Okay, it's also important to understand that the voter rolls can be manipulated through ERIC, and Oregon is one of the 31 states, 32 places, 31 states in Washington, D.C. that opt in and pay a fee to be part of ERIC, which also works with our DMV. You guys, we have Motor Voter here. The county office can also manipulate our records, and so can the Secretary of State. And I think a lot of those entities sort of point the finger at each other. If we find a problem, they'll be like, "Oh, they did it. Oh, they did it. Oh, we can't access that information. It's not ours. When really they all share information, and it's just kind of like a way they can excuse themselves out of answering. Canvassing can be one of the most effective weapons we have against the fallacy that the election of 2020 was the most secure election in history. I'll take this moment to point out that, in my opinion, this is not about Trump at all. This is not about Republican versus Democrat. This is about making sure that we, the people, have our voice counted and measured as we have intended. And we are here left to figure out how to do that together, and we can do it for sure. And I'm so proud of you guys that you're wanting to start this. It's so exciting. Okay, I'm going to explain the process. I built some different Telegram channels, and it's not imperative that you're on Telegram. It's just kind of a hot way to communicate now. But if you're not on Telegram, I'm sure you guys can figure out another way to communicate, email chains or whatever people are more comfortable with. But I have built some Telegram. Bless you. No problem. Some Telegram channels that are specific to Oregon, that hold Oregon-centric data, and where we can share strategies and news as things continue to unfold. Excuse me. I also have built a channel called Oregon State Canvas, and it is a channel, that is meant as a post-only repository of canvassing resources available to you guys, to help you canvass in your area. If you guys come up with something cool or something you think another county could benefit from, you can send it to me or one of the admins on that channel, and we will upload it there. It's just we don't want a lot of extra, you know how communication can be now. We just don't want a lot of extra stuff in there. Okay, I'm going to talk about the Maricopa canvas a little tiny bit with Liz Harris, and then I'm going to explain how to think about it in terms of your county. Okay, Liz Harris coordinated a huge canvas in Arizona. They have, I think, 209 million voters, but they only knocked on about 11,000 doors, and they got less than half of those doors to answer their call. So in my county, we have about 309,000 voters, but if we canvassed only 1,400, that would be respectively the same that Liz did. And you guys, I think I'm right. Do you guys have about 64,000 voters? Does that sound about right in Douglas?
Anybody want to verify that? It's more than that, is what I'm hearing.
It's a little bit more. Does anybody know the approximate number?
Approximate number, anybody? So it sounds like about 90,000 or 85 to 90,000.
Okay, that's
including all Republican, Democrat, NAVs, and undecided.
Okay, and that's wonderful because, interestingly, a lot of the Democratic votes were the ones stolen in Florida and in Colorado. A lot of the Democrats hadn't voted, and when they went around and they did the canvass, many of the Democrats were shocked to learn that their vote had been stolen. Somebody else had voted for them. So by no means should we count out a Democrat voter, an NAV voter at all.
Very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Okay, so if you have 85 or 90,000, I think you probably have. If we're comparing back to Liz Harris, the Maricopa canvas, you probably only have to do about 400 homes. So that's like so few, right? So that's kind of cool. If you just think of it respectively to how many voters you have and the percentage of voters that you really have to do, it's really not that. it's really a simple process, and it's really not that convoluted at all, of course, but it's also completely doable. And they did some of their precincts, they did the entire precinct, but most of what they did was completely partial. So it wasn't, it's not necessary to knock on every single door. I'll get to that a little bit later to explain more of that, but okay. And currently, Liz Harris and her team are working on a portable system that can be used in all 50 states. Also, Captain K, Seth Keschel, has just tentatively announced I think what do you call it? A canvassing information platform where people can from all of the 50 states come and get information and have a better coordinated effort so we can share and learn from each other and things like that. It's not quite ready yet, but in the next couple of weeks, I think it'll be released. And on the Oregon State Canvas channel that I mentioned, I already have different applications and many questionnaire forms and examples. I have a chain of custody form that I made up. There are videos, instructions. There's all kinds of things in there that can be really helpful. And then whoever your leads are can go in there and play around, look what that looks like, and then add whatever they like to your own channel or to you. You can take it off there and do whatever you want with it. I have it there as a free resource for whatever you guys need to do. Okay, many states and counties in Oregon are already canvassing. And your canvas can be of any size, absolutely any size, and remain of value. So that should be encouraging too. A pilot of your whole process should be done initially, and then you would choose a small sampling canvas area to act as the test pilot area. So, and you look for gaps in your process, communication between team members, things that may not be completely detailed out, but that you guys can also tailor to how you guys work your operation. So you'd look for weaknesses in maybe the training or procedure and better ways to use the resources that you have. For instance, I'll give you an example. Originally, we were kind of thinking of copying Liz Harris model, and they had notaries on call, and so they would knock on each door, and then if they found what they called an anomaly, something unusual or of note, they would call the notary over, and they'd fill out an affidavit right there. There's another way to do it, where each canvasser or canvassing team would complete their work, fill out or create a single document, and then have all of their anomalies, all of those forms that they filled out on the questionnaire as exhibits for one single canvas. Does that make sense at all? How I explained it? I hope so. I'm sorry?
Do they have to be notarized?
Okay, yeah, but that's I think that's a smarter and easier way. They should be notarized, but they don't have to be notarized in front of the resident, in front of the voter at that moment. The canvassers themselves can have their individual document with however many. No.
And Abby, you can carry that mic around if people need
Well,
it.
I was just going to say to clarify. So, like,
Have that one document notarized. Does that clarify?
yeah. So if I were a canvasser and I did like 30 homes and I had 10 anomalies, 10 different people said, "Hey, here's my story." I collect all those anomalies as individual exhibits, and then I do my own affidavit that I get notarized. Is that?
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Okay. Like I mentioned, a partial canvas is a smart way to go. You could. There's a couple of different ways to do it. You can knock on the doors to have multiple voters, which seems to be the most popular way to go. You could also choose voters that haven't voted in any other election, but maybe just in 2020. Some people have opted as kind of like a subset to do maybe voters that are 90 years of age and older. So that's another interesting set of information usually. Another approach is to go into different parts of your community that might have a low voter score. Excuse me. And that means I drink my water too fast. Low voter score. Okay, so these people with low voter scores might have English as a second language. They might have lower education or income levels, and a lot of times, regrettably, I'm so disgusted by it. A lot of these low vote scores have had their vote stolen as well, which any vote stolen to me is despicable. But I just can't believe the antics that are pulled on people. Okay, so sometimes even canvassed college dorms or apartment buildings to kind of make things easier on themselves, just to get the numbers in. And apartments can hold all kinds of people anyway, so it's already kind of usually a good sampling of a population. Or nursing homes, but I don't, in Oregon that's probably off the list because we can't even get in probably anywhere in nursing homes at this point, but maybe. Okay. We have people, if you don't have a data person in your county, we have people that can, if you do have one too, but we have people that can help produce walk lists and or help explain things and sort of work together with your people, so just to make sure that you guys are off on the right foot and understand what you need to understand. We're always available anyway, but and one of the important things when you're working a big effort like this is to keep communication open and coordination. And if there does happen to be another outfit canvassing, talk to them and be friendly and see if you guys can somehow, consolidate or overlap or keep information flow. Because we're all in this together. So, yeah. I put allows better logistical management. Okay. Which does provide a better end product for all of us who are going in. All right. So this is kind of what the process looks like. Your people can look at the resources we have and just use one of our questionnaires, or you can make one yourself. And you'll create a packet, and you need your county data for that, which we have. We have a couple different sets of every county, a couple different voter registration role sets, or you can use whatever you're comfortable with too, if you guys have your own. Then you would decide what type of canvas you want to do, whether it be the comprehensive, which of course would be knocking on every door in precinct or town, or partial, like a targeted, I should say, instead of partial. Or some people in other states, I don't think anyone has done this in Oregon, but some people have opted to do a random canvas. It doesn't sound good to me, but maybe it's useful. I don't know. You guys can decide that for yourself. Then you would either create or use one of the pre-created questionnaires, and we have some pretty good ones in there. And then today, I watched the professor's video with Aaron and his wife, and their questions are pretty phenomenal too. I'm not gonna. Well, I guess I could read them if you guys want. I have them here, but I don't have it in my presentation that I'm looking at. And then you want to make sure that your volunteers know how to fill out each of the documents. So basically, there's a questionnaire that would be for, it's usually per voter, so one per voter. sometimes people add other voters from a household or residents on the same page, and that's acceptable. That's perfectly acceptable. And also, you want your volunteers to understand what the chain of custody form is and why it's very important. I'll explain that, but basically there's only 2 forms usually. Another thing I'd like to point out at this point that I don't have in my presentation is a lot of places have used apps, like, on your phone, an application, or on an iPad or something, which is perfectly fine usually. They are, I would encourage having a paper copy of everything you do. So if you do use an app, immediately at the end of your session, at the end of your walk, or the end of your day, print off everything. There have been, I don't know if I should call them attacks, but there have been data completely lost somehow. Some people think they know where it went, or they. Anyway, I think you guys understand that if all of your hard work is for naught, and you don't have your own copy, that can be very disheartening. So I would just encourage to have a hard copy, physical copy, paper copy of everything that you produce. Okay. So basically, on the day that you canvass, you meet at an agreed upon location. You hand out the canvassing instructions and the script packets to your volunteers. You'd have a question and answer session with them. You review the conduct expectations, which I kind of mentioned already. No political position advocacy, obviously. Basically, you're there to smile and listen and be polite and collect the information that you need to collect and move on so that your time is used wisely. So one cool thing, though, is a lot of, usually, people are happy to share their experience with what happened with their vote or anything like this. And they're thrilled that someone is out there advocating for them. And so sometimes you might find people that want to join your effort, which is awesome. And, or you might find people that want, just to talk to someone or something. So, we've all been in that situation at the grocery or something where you have to politely say goodbye and move on. But also you might come across information that is not on your questionnaire that can be very valuable. And so, whichever way you guys decide, make sure there's a place either the back or somewhere that your volunteers can write down information that they think might be valuable. So one of the questions from the professor's questionnaire was, is it okay if someone contacts you in the future about the information you shared today? And that, I think, that I don't remember that on any of the questionnaires that we have as examples so far, but I really see that as a possible gold mine right there. Whether it's talking to them again, if something came up that was really serious, or if they wanted to be, part of your group for whatever reason, or canvassing or anything like that. Okay, so I've already mentioned the questionnaire, which, I'm sorry?
Oh, I was telling my wife, thank you for the dinner she brought me. Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so sweet.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that. Okay, I just heard something. I didn't know if I should.
I forgot my microphone was sitting on. Sorry.
Oh, no problem. No problem. I love that. Okay. Okay, so I mentioned questionnaires, and on the questionnaires, this is kind of where you write your script already, so you don't have to memorize anything. But the structure of your questions and the subject of your focus are integral to obtaining the information that you're after. And these sort of canned questionnaires that we already have are a great starting point, but you guys would know your area best, and there might be something that you might want to delve into a little bit deeper. It's not necessary, but for instance, in our area, we have questions about maybe the psilocybin law that nobody thinks really passed, or something like that. And you can use that kind of like as a warm-up question, or you can leave it off. But you guys would know your place and your people better. And so I would encourage you that if you do use a pre-created questionnaire, that you discuss with each other if there's anything that should be added or taken away, honestly. So typically, some of the questions would be, what method did you use to vote? Which a lot of people in Oregon think that we only have mail-in, which isn't true. We have absentee ballots too, and we have other ways, but it doesn't have to be just mail-in is the only answer. People can mail in their ballot. They can drop it off at their precinct. They can drop it off at a drop box. And so even those little details between how someone turns their ballot in could be useful in the future. So that's something to consider putting on there too. How many ballots did you? I'm not sure if I said, but these questions I'm reading right now are from the Maricopa campus. Liz Harris. Okay. How many ballots did you receive in the mail for yourself? How many ballots did you receive for persons that do not live here? What did you do with the extra ballots? How many registered voters are supposed to be at this address? And what is the total number of registered voters who voted in the November election that live here? And then when discrepancies are found, they opted for the individual ballot. So when they found a discrepancy, they would get a notary and then collect the affidavits. Usually the team would have to collect affidavits.
Gina,
yeah, and then the form was, yeah, that's right.
What about the question, did you receive a ballot with you registered in the correct party?
That's probably a very useful question.
Because there was, I just know the testimony of a handful of people that actually said, yeah, I keep getting a registration, a voter registration mail-in form, and they have me in the wrong party.
So perfect example. I don't think that is printed on anything yet, although I've heard that come up. But if that's happening in your area, that might be something, to add on. Okay, I like that one. Good thinking. Okay, and this whole process would be recorded in the chain of custody, which I'll talk about right now. Okay, this is kind of like the technical part of the presentation, so I'm definitely going to read it, but I can answer questions on it. It's really a simple idea. It just sounds
one more thing,
okay.
Gina, real quick.
Yes,
so
sir.
with my Zoom account, which actually is a free one, I only have about 7 more minutes. So just let me know, okay?
Thank you. I'll hurry through. Okay. So the chain of custody, thank you so much. The chain of custody is an ever important consideration. It helps preserve the integrity of the information being collected, as the information will be used for data analysis and maybe as authentic legal evidence. It is a continual record of who had possession of the data. The COC, chain of custody, is described as a sequential documentation trail that accounts for timeline of custody, transfer, analysis, and disposition of physical and electronic evidence. It provides transparency for a procedure. It should include the person's name and signature who handles the information, a description of the information being handled, the dates and the times of each guardianship of the information, and the time every subsequent transfer occurs. Transfer of information should be done minimally, and the team lead may be the one in charge of tracking the chain of custody. But it's important that your whole team understands why the chain of custody is important. This should be on paper as well. Okay, so I'll skip the gathering volunteers, and I'll get to this part. This part is entitled Recording Data. It's best to have an entire data collection area completed with a state modality, as the data can be compared easily. Canvassing is a very simple process. Poll the voter, record the pertinent information, and collect an affidavit if applicable, analyze the data and produce a report. And that's what will be, your firepower at the end of this is what your report shows. This process will provide us the local proof we need to compel the truth of the election to be forced into the light, whether we share it with our sheriffs or our county commissions or each other in the court of public opinion. So, it's super important. We, the people, will do the work and demand the remedy to the injustice that has been suffered. The people have the power to effect the change we desire and return to true political independence, which is required after the ugly truth of election tampering has been revealed. Election integrity is an American issue, and I think it's an issue of our time. Okay, so I just want to encourage you guys that you are the trailblazers. You are the ones that are being called to restore our nation, and it sounds humongous, but it starts right where you are, right in your shoes, right in your town, with one local action at a time. And we, the people, are the ones that, obviously, we all know now we're not waiting for a judge or this person or that person to save us. We have to do this ourselves. But it should be our honor. Okay, so I thank you and I appreciate your attention, and I'm very excited to see what you guys come up with. And I have time for questions or whatever you guys want to do.
There's about 3-4 minutes for questions if anyone has any.
Does anybody have any
Abby?
questions?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Let me see if I can do this.
Gina, this is Olga. I have a question about what results have the canvassing efforts produced so far?
Can someone repeat that for me, please?
What results have the canvassing efforts produced so far in Oregon or other states?
In different states or in Oregon?
Both. Do we have any hope?
Absolutely, yes. Yes. There's always hope. The world is still spinning, so the answer is yes on that. Okay. I mentioned a few things. A lot of votes were stolen from Republicans as well as Democrats. A lot of votes stolen for the low opportunity score voter. A lot of votes stolen from elderly. You guys have probably seen a lot of footage of the I think it's called 2,000 Mules or something that that's just D'Souza is making a documentary. And that's not the only place. Arizona, Colorado, Florida, now Pennsylvania, they have all put out canvassing reports, and it'd probably be more interesting for you to look through them yourself, but it's very apparent that our votes have been stolen in many different ways, and not just ways that you and I can find by doing the canvass, many other ways, but all of the evidence adds up to show the picture that we have been stolen from.
Hold on, I got another question.
So I've got some friends that moved up to Oregon from California, and California sends them a ballot every year. And they've contacted California and told them, do not send us a ballot. We live in Oregon, and they keep sending them. So is this information going to be cross-referenced between the states so that we can find out that there is behavior in other states that is actually coming into Oregon and affecting Oregon, the voters in Oregon?
So as I understand it, I don't think that our Secretary of State does their job properly. And I myself get a ballot from Washington, and then I got a postcard saying that I did something wrong when I had already canceled my, when I moved, I canceled everything. One of the big problems is the DMV and ERIC. They like to pad the rolls, and that's why the canvas is so important, because all of the potential is in there with the dead voters, phantom voters, and they just use the excess and do whatever they want with it. And so that is becoming more and more obvious. I'm sorry to report that.
What'd you say? Gina, I have a comment or question or thought. Hi, I'm Gina. I'm Jeff.
Hi.
Nice to see you. So we were in a meeting just recently in our local county, and we got a chance to meet, I think, the person who is in charge of, the voter integrity area. I think he's the county clerk. Who is it, Dan Loomis? Is that who he is? So, unfortunately, what came out of his mouth, the questions came up because he confessed that certain post office in our state do not have a proper machine to actually put a postmark on the ballot, so they leave the election counting open for those ballots that didn't come in to post office with the machine. And so the question is obviously, well, that scenario rife with opportunity for just fraud. And here's what came out of Dan Loomis's mouth. He said that what was the first thing he said? He said there are no fraudulent ballots in Oregon, is what he said. And that one caught me really just gasped. And so I don't know what you would do, but I just know his election's coming up this year, and I think someone should run against him. It's not? It's 2024? Okay, well we're kind of stuck with him. But what would you do is the question.
What would I do?
Besides yeah, go ahead.
To find fraudulent ballots?
Well, I mean, how do you try to get? I mean, because to me, a person in that position, part of their job description is to at least hold suspicion about the fact that there are fraudulent votes. And when you have someone who categorically said there are no fraudulent ballots in Oregon, what do you do about that?
So one thing you guys can do is FOIA, or better known as Oregon Public Records Request, ballot images from your clerk and compare them. I'm on a team with many people from across the United States. One amazing guy who has a program where we can put in our ballot images and they can be citizen adjudicated. A lot of times they say, this is the front and this is the back, or this is the left and this is the right, and there's no way that those ballot images can possibly go together, and not even the rest of the 1,000 images can they go together. So that is one way that I would recommend, is to request ballot images.
All right, that's good.
There are also many of the military and people that are citizens of the United States that live across the world. Many of their ballots are found to be just Xerox copies from any given state, and so that is absolutely fraudulent.
Great. Is there anybody else have a question? Marlene, my mother-in-law, of course.
The new laws that they are putting in are atrocious. And we have just one more day to respond to House Bill 4133, which means the ballots would be just Social Security, no more license. It would just be Social Security. A lot of Social Security people are not citizens. And we can respond to that, I think, until midnight. Tomorrow morning is when their meeting starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. Yes, on OLIS. And tomorrow morning it starts, so they don't receive anything after that. But even if it's just a few words, it tabulates that you're against it. So.
Thank you. That's a great point.
Great question. What is OLIS? O-L-I-S-S, is that right? What does that stand for? Does anyone know? Oregon Legislature something.
Oh, OLIS. Are you talking about OLIS?
It's their information system.
Right. I think that is what it is. OLIS, Oregon Legislature Information System.
Yeah.
So, Gina, what is the best way? I know that you guys have set up a Douglas County, Oregon channel on Telegram that I'm on, and I tried to copy the Oregon State Canvas information to that page.
Mhm.
If people are interested in joining that, is that an invite link that we send them, or how can they, if they're interested, how can
Yes. Yes, I may not have made you admin on there. You can either add them as a member, like at the top, push add member, or you can generate an invite link. I'm so sorry if I haven't done that for you.
No,
I
you might have. I haven't
through the
checked.
cracks.
You might have.
Okay.
The other question
Okay.
is the Oregon election. What is it called? The Oregon Election
DI
Integrity.
committee.
How can people join that channel on Telegram?
Well, I can add them if they are actually on your election integrity committee in your county. I can add them.
Okay, so if they're interested in getting on, there's a ton of information being shared on that Oregon Election Integrity channel. So if anyone is
Yeah.
interested, then let me know. We can add you on the Douglas County, Oregon channel, and then Gina can add you to that main channel, if that makes sense. All the channels. I think we are good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gina, for coming
Thank
on.
you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was an honor to be with you. Thank you so much. Good night.
Good night. Okay, so I think that oh boy. I think we're gonna try to wrap it up. There's obviously yes. Bring that up here. Would you please, Sylvia? I want to remind everyone tomorrow morning, Glide High School, the little grassy area next to the greenhouse, which you can see when you drive by, or anywhere on the sidewalk, really, I guess it would be fine. But we have some good friends making some signs, or you can bring signs. I think my cousin's making me a Make Glide Great Again sign.
And I just wanted to give a brief update. We've got Noah here in the back. Everybody say hi to Noah.
Hi, Noah.
So Noah's the athlete over at UCC, and he came up and shared his testimony, and basically he's dropped a lawyer letter down, or what was it that you gave them? It was a notice saying, look, basically I'm standing up for my rights. I'm not going to get a shot. So, yeah. So just to let you know, the status update is your coach basically has been told, I think he's been told legally not to coach anymore, even though he's still the coach. In other words, there's a lot of silence going on right now. Anything, is that about right? Legally advised to stop running with the team. He's doing nothing. So the team is just out doing its own thing, and the coach is doing no coaching. And that's really what's happened as a result, I think, of him standing up and giving a legal notice to him. So, interesting. Very cool. I think it's a win, personally. We'll see, but we're waiting, right? We're just waiting. And let's see God turn that tide around, okay? Oregon Citizens Lobby. Okay. All right. We ready to go?
Yeah, I think so. We're going to talk about PCPs, but I think we want to have a little bit bigger in-depth conversation with that. Do you have a question?
Yeah. (4133) 4147 4136.
Jeff, could you take a picture of that and post it on our Telegram?
I don't have my camera with me. It's over there.
But at some point, this is till midnight. Sheila's going to take a picture of this and post it on our main Telegram page so you guys can refer to it.
I don't think it's on here. But yeah, they're just going to open voting to anybody with Social Security, which they're issuing Social Security to people who aren't even citizens. So, yeah, which is another thing that's rife with corruption.
Jeff, she's
Yeah. No, it is a no. Those are all no's. Yeah, she wanted to know if those three bills, 4133, 4147, 4136, are those all vote no? And the answer to that is yes. It's no. Yes, no. that clear?
Is your shirt from the same place as this one? It is?
Oh, cool.
I just wanted to point out, yeah, me and Janae, kind of, we all have these super cool looking and also very comfortable and nice feeling sweatshirts through our website. You guys can order them to help support the coalition and the constitutional. Our next meeting is going to be here, probably, right?
Couple weeks.
February 21st.
All right.
Probably at 6:30. So bring your friends.
Thank you for coming, everybody.
And until then, find some way to stand up and give them hell back. Go to the commissioners meeting, go to the school board meetings, go to Glide tomorrow. We're going to actually, a few of us who are involved in this canvassing effort, we're going to, I think, form like a little mini subgroup and get together and have another meeting to start moving forward on that. So any of you little canvassers out here who want to be interested in that, we'll talk right over here. So anyways, thank you for coming. Oh yeah, and start talking to the truckers. March, maybe 18th, Salem. Stay tuned for more information on that. There's a flyer going around. We'll post it on the Telegram channel. Anyways, thanks guys. Yes, yeah, you don't have to be a trucker. You don't have to be a trucker to go to Salem. You can just be